Does Ranger have any good parts about it? Are you playing Ranger? What is wrong with you? There will be no talk of Ranger in my class, young man. Yeah, I personally don't even think Ranger's that bad. Refer to the Dungeon Master's Guide. Hello and welcome. My name is Blake Croft from UniversiD&D, and I am here to help you earn your Dungeon Master's degree. In today's episode, we're going to be answering the question, what is D&D? Now, D&D, or Dungeons & Dragons, is pretty well known in pop culture today. With the resurgence of mainstream shows like Stranger Things, and the emergence of D&D streams like Critical Role, or the game that we run right here on this channel, it's hard to entirely miss out on this phenomenon, but what is it exactly? Well, Dungeons & Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game. What is that? Well, D&D is not a video game. It's not a board game. There's no board to play D&D on. I think that's a common misconception. What it is a bunch of friends sitting around a table, letting their imagination run wild. Now, there are two roles that you can take at the table when you play D&D. There are the players, and there's the Dungeon Master. The players take on the personas of a character, and they all work together in a collaborative playstyle. We'll touch more on characters in a different series, hosted by one of our own players at the table. But the players make characters from scratch, choosing their class and race and customizing them to their liking. They choose what they're good at, what they're bad at, and really anything else. And once their character is made, the players act as their characters for the whole campaign.
I extend my hand, very intrusive like. Hello, I am Blomf. It is nice to meet you.
Now that's important. The players do not use their characters as game pieces, like you would in Monopoly. Instead, the players assume the role of those characters and act out their decisions, actions, their relationships, their flaws, and their stories. Now, this role-playing aspect of the game can vary from table to table, but the players will, in one way or another, assume the role of their character. These player characters are the heroes of their adventure, like the protagonists in a fantasy novel. They're the ones who fight the bad guys, get the loot, and save the day. But on the other side of the table is the Dungeon Master. The Dungeon Master is not a player in the game, which makes tabletop RPGs stand out from other types of games. If the players are the protagonists in the story, the Dungeon Master is the author. He or she creates the world in which the characters live, pits up bad guys against them, determines what the players can or cannot do. They put on the guise of all the monsters and all the townsfolk that aid the adventurers on their quest. The Dungeon Master is the referee, the tour guide, and the creator of all the content that you find in your campaign that you run. So, what's a campaign? Now, most board games take maybe an hour or two to play, then you pack up and never dwell on that game again. If you were playing the game of life, you wouldn't stop in the middle and say, we'll pick up there next week. That's because most board games or video games have a built-in win condition. Once you beat all the bad guys, you win. That's not the case in D&D. There's no way to win Dungeons & Dragons. Sure, the party could beat a band of goblins and get all their loot, but the dragon's still going to attack the town. They didn't win. And the story doesn't end after just a few hours of play. Dungeons & Dragons is played in sessions, usually between 2 and 4 hours, which make up a larger campaign, which can last anywhere between a few sessions and a few years. The same characters are played from session to session, and the story just continues between sessions. No two campaigns are the same, and no two sessions are the same, which means D&D has unlimited potential for a new story every week. So what's the game? We have the players, and we have the Dungeon Master. We have sessions that make up a larger campaign, but what is playing like? Well, the short answer is whatever you want it to be like. Across pretty much all tables, the characters will roll dice, fight bad guys, and level up, becoming better heroes as the campaign progresses. But besides that, the rest of the gameplay is really determined by the preferences of the table. In some tables, like the one I run, the players emphasize role-playing and becoming the characters that these players have made. They craft plausible stories to be told and explore the intricacies of the world as these adventurers. Other tables focus on combat. They, like the old days of D&D, want to just fight bad guys, get the loot, and move on to the next fight. Some tables play a campaign that emphasizes horror or mystery or political intrigue. However you want to play, and however you have fun playing, that's the right way to play D&D. But there is one defining feature of Dungeons & Dragons that holds true no matter how you play. These guys, the dice. These wacky-looking polyhedrals are pretty recognizable as a trademark of D&D. But how are they used? Well, without getting too much into the mechanics of the game, at least for now, the dice are used to determine the success or failure of almost any action the players could take. You swing your sword at the dragon? Roll the dice. You try to persuade the merch to give you a discount? Roll the dice. You want to do just about anything else in the game? Your fate is up to those dice. Now, it is a little more complicated than that, but as you begin your journey into Dungeons & Dragons, just know to be wary of the dice. And that's the game. A game with no board, no screen, just a few friends sitting around a table, rolling dice, and crafting heroic, untold stories together. Well, that sounds like a counterintuitive game. No way to win? I have to make up all the content myself? Why do we play D&D instead of just picking up a video game? Well, that, my friends, is the topic for the next video. Until then, my name is Blake Croft, and I'm so glad you could join me to earn your Dungeon Master's degree. If you liked this content and would like to see more of it, let me know down in the comments below and drop a like on the video. And be sure to tune in to our game right here on the channel every Friday. And as always, remember, friends who crit together, stick together. Bye-bye.